West, 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 West. This the West, 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 the West Coast. This the West, 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 the West, West. This the West, 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 the West Coast.
Oh yeah, West Coast Mindset, episode 17, and it's time, baby. We have football. It's week 1. We already had 2 games played, and we got more on Sunday. Let's get to it right now. Starting with the game in São Paulo, Brazil, between the Chargers and the Chiefs. And the Chargers took this one 27-21. Patrick Mahomes had a solid game, threw for 258 yards and a touchdown. But Justin Herbert outshined them with 318 yards, 3 touchdowns, and was a great dual threat the entire game. And yeah, if you're a Chiefs fan, you got to be a little worried, guys. This was not a good showing for the reigning AFC champs. It was a real grinded out game for them. You had to work for every single yard, and it was a tough one. And they lost another piece of their offense already. They're already missing Rashee Rice, who's going to miss the first 6 games with the suspension. And they lost another guy, Xavier Worthy, on the first drive of the game, where he's on the crossing route and he literally runs right into Travis Kelce, and he got freaking demolished. Travis Kelce ran right past him and basically tackled him. It was bad. He got a shoulder injury, and we already knew right away that he's out for the game because he was holding the shoulder on the way out, and that was bad. And you can already tell that he was being missed because other than Hollywood Brown, there was really no receiver out there that Patrick Mahomes can really trust to throw the football to. He was running for his life, looking for somebody to throw to, and if it wasn't Hollywood Brown, then he couldn't find anybody. He found that Thornton kid a couple of times on a couple of deep balls, but it really took him a lot of passes to finally complete one to him. And yeah, you got to be concerned because the Chiefs last year were really good on defense, but they really had a tough time taking care of trying to handle Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert was able to escape the pocket and run all over the place. And yeah, he was finding receivers. Quentin Johnson had a really good game. He had 2 touchdowns. He had 5 receptions for 79 yards. And yeah, he was able to run past the secondary pretty easy. And it was a bit of a concern if you're a Chiefs fan. Travis Kelce, he had a touchdown on a busted coverage, but he only had 2 receptions for 47 yards. And you can just tell, guys, he's not what he was. Travis Kelce is older and he has way more things on his mind. He got the touchdown. I'll give him that on the busted coverage, but it's going to be a bit of a struggle to find him opportunities to really do anything. And yeah, Patrick Mahomes did all he could. He threw for 250 yards. He threw for a touchdown. Solid rating at 89.5, but he had to work for every single yard. He had to throw on the run a couple of times, and he made some amazing passes where he was literally falling to the ground. But yeah, with the next game being against the Eagles, that's a real tough one because yeah, if the Chiefs can't score any points against that defense, it's going to be tough because the Eagles, although they really didn't throw the football well themselves, but the Eagles still have a high-powered offense, and they can score a lot of points. So it's going to be a tough one for the Chiefs. So if you're a Chiefs fan, you got to be a big concern going into week 2. But if you're a Chargers fan, you got to feel pretty confident going forward because yeah, Justin Herbert was fantastic. Threw for 318 yards, 3 touchdowns, a 131.7 rating, which is outstanding. And yeah, the dude looked as advertised. I know people have overhyped him for years that he's a top 5 quarterback and he has all the build and everything you want out of a quarterback, but he really hasn't lived up to being that guy. But in this game, man, he looked like a top 3 quarterback. He was fantastic. Whether he was throwing the ball on the move, whether he was scrambling, he found some guys on some deep balls. He was really good in the red zone, and yeah, Justin Herbert looked very, very good. I was very impressed in the way he played. Quentin Johnson, as I brought up, he had a lot of issues with dropping passes, but in this game, he caught pretty much everything that was thrown to him, and he was very good, and he showed the speed, and he showed why he was taken in the first round a couple of years ago from this team because the Chargers have been looking for a real go-to receiver ever since Keenan Allen moved on and he's gotten older. Although Keenan Allen's back, but Keenan Allen's not what he used to be. But he made a couple of key catches actually in this game, and he got a touchdown as well, and yeah, this Chargers offense, man, you got to feel pretty good because the rookie Omari Hampton, although his yardage overall, he didn't run for over 100 yards, but he made some big runs, and he made some really tough runs when it comes to power running, and he got some tough yards, and the kid can get through some tackles, man. He broke a couple tackles, and he was getting in between the tackles, and he looks like a real player in this league, and he looks like a running back that can really take over for years, and he's the guy that Jim Harbaugh wants in this offense, because you know Jim Harbaugh wants to run that football, and he's the guy. So yeah, you got to feel really good if you're a Chargers fan. But overall, in the AFC West, it's up for grabs now because yeah, this Chiefs team, it's not as powerful as people think, and they have a really tough schedule in the first half of the season. So there's a possibility that the Chargers and the Broncos might be able to take control of first place and maybe hold it for the whole year. So this AFC West, man, it's going to be really, really interesting. And we'll see how it goes. But this was a good game and a good way to start out the season in this division because yeah, the Chiefs are not the Chiefs. Then it's going to be a real battle for who wins this. And it's going to be really interesting to watch going forward who wins this division and who possibly can come out of this division and make a real run in the playoffs. So keep an eye on the AFC West, guys. Moving on to a good game here in a divisional matchup between the Lions and the Packers in Green Bay on CBS this Sunday. And yeah, it's going to be a really good one between two great teams who are going to be expected to be one of the two best teams in the NFC North. I got them both making the playoffs. And yeah, this is going to be a good one. And of course, the main storyline in this one is that if Micah Parsons is going to play for the Packers, who they traded for a couple of weeks ago, and it's looking like he is going to play. He's been in practice limitedly, so it's possible he might be in a snap count, or he might be a full go because there's that conspiracy out there that he was hurt. So maybe he wasn't hurt. Maybe he was just doing it to get the trade to happen. So we'll see, but it's most likely he's going to play no matter if it's a snap count or not. So Micah Parsons should be in there for the Packers on Sunday. And yeah, this is going to be a great game. And Jordan Love, he has a lot to prove. He has some new receivers. Matthew Golden, the upstart rookie, is going to make his debut. He's got a couple of guys there that are pretty good, and Jaden Reed and Romeo Doubs. He's got the two tight ends with Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave. And he's got Josh Jacobs in the backfield. So that offense is going to be really good. And then you add Michael Parsons to that defense. And, man, the Packers are going to be very good. The big question, though, is the Lions, because the Lions, on paper, they have a very good team and a lot of good players. But the issue with them is that they lost those two coordinators, and they lost their offensive coordinator and Ben Johnson. So we're going to see this game if this offense can remain the same or close to the same that it was last year. Because last year when Ben Johnson was the guy that was running this offense, Jared Goff had by far his best season of his career. They were running the football, a lot of trick plays, and that offense was fun to watch, and it led them to getting 15 wins. So if I was to predict, they'll still be a pretty good team because I wouldn't say they'll win 15 games, but I think they'll win about 11 to 12 games. But I don't think it'll be too much of a drop-off. I think it'll be a little less advanced as it was last year, but it's still going to be pretty good. They still got those two horses in the backfield with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. They got a top 10 receiver, and Amon-Ra St. Brown, really good receiver. They got Jameson Williams, great speed threat that can break the coverage as a deep threat receiver. They got a really good tight end in Sam Laporta. And Jared Goff, although he really fell apart in that playoff game last year against the Commanders, but in the regular season, the guy puts up numbers, and the guy knows how to run an offense, so they're still going to be pretty good. And that offensive line, although they lost Frank Ragnow and a couple of guys that, at guard, they're still going to be pretty good because they still have some great tackles with Penei Sewell and Zeitler and those guys. And they still have a pretty good offensive line, so they should be okay there. But yeah, this is going to be a ground-out game in Green Bay. Both fan bases hate each other. And it's great because in the past, the Packers used to just beat up on the Lions, and the Lions fans had no faith when it came to beating the Packers because the Packers were were big brother, and the Lions were little brother. But the Lions last year, and they really took it to heart, and they turned that around because the Lions were very good against the Packers, played them very well, played them beat them both times, and yeah, the Packers need to bounce back and show them who's boss because the Lions are not going away. They're still a really good team, and it's going to be a physical game. And yeah, for week 1, this is a great treat. So if I was to pick, I think the Packers will win this game in a close one. It's going to be a grind out game. A little low scoring. I wouldn't say it'll be like in the 30s. Probably say like early 20s. Probably like maybe like a 27-24 game or a 23-20 game. But yeah, I think it'll be a low scoring game because it's week 1. The offense still needs to get going on both sides, and yeah, I think it'll be a low scoring game, and I think the Packers will win this game in a close one. So keep an eye on this one. It's gonna be a fun one to watch, guys. Moving on to the Sunday night game between the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills in the great one between two powerhouses in the AFC. We're expecting to have great years and possibly knock off the AFC champion Chiefs and get to the Super Bowl. And yeah, this is gonna be a great one, guys. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, two of the best quarterbacks in the AFC and the whole league. And yeah, this is gonna be a great game at Buffalo. That crowd's gonna be lit, and it's gonna be a great one. This is really gonna show who is the best team in the AFC because, as I brought up in the first segment with the Chiefs, right now they don't look like that team. So these two teams have an opportunity to really show themselves and take control and be the best team in the AFC. And whoever does is really gonna show themselves as that team. And the Baltimore Ravens, they're my pick to win the Super Bowl and get to the Super Bowl. And they gotta get it done this year. Lamar Jackson should have won the MVP last year. He put up outstanding numbers, but I think he's gonna have a great year this year again. Although I have Joe Burrow winning the MVP this year, but he's not. He's gonna put up great numbers again, and he's got to get it done. This Bills defense, it's pretty good, but it's not the greatest defense. I think Lamar Jackson can take advantage of it and put up big numbers against it. And this Baltimore Ravens defense is very, very good, although they're facing Josh Allen, but it's very, very good. So you got to think they're going to be confident going into Buffalo and playing well. And for the Bills, Josh Allen, same thing. He's got to get it done. He's got to show that he can go on a run and do well in the playoffs and have a regular season as well. And that Ravens defense is going to be really, really tough because they added Jair Alexander to that secondary, and they already have Marlon Humphrey in that secondary with Kyle Hamilton at safety. And that secondary is very good. Pass rush is very good. Linebacker, Roquan Smith is outstanding, one of the best linebackers in the league. And overall, that defense is going to be very good. So I think the tougher time offensively is going to be for the Bills because, yeah, that Ravens defense is legit. But the Bills are at home, so it's going to be a little tough for Lamar Jackson to process things and get the offense going. But for his standards, he still has to be able to show up and do the best he can. He still has some good receivers with Zay Flowers, and he added DeAndre Hopkins this year. Rashad Bateman's back healthy. They have a really good tight end in Mark Andrews, one of the best running backs in football, had a great year last year, and Derrick Henry in the backfield. Good offensive line. So the Ravens have an offense that can go into Buffalo and put up points. And as I brought up that defense is going to show up and do work as well. For the Bills, Josh Allen's the guy. He'll do his thing. They have a really good running back in James Cook in the backfield. They have some solid receivers with Khalil Shakir and Josh Palmer and a couple of those guys on the receiving core that are pretty good. Good tight ends with Don Kincaid and they have some really good players there. And yeah, it's gonna be a dogfight. This is gonna be a tough one here. I think it's gonna be a little high scoring. I think it'll get to like the late 20s. I'll probably say I think for the prediction here, I think the Ravens can pull it out and they'll win this game 27-24. It's gonna be tough because the Bills and Josh Allen are a really good team. But if the Ravens want to show that they are that team, they got to go out to Buffalo and show that they can they can win because they lost last year in Buffalo in that divisional game, and of course they haven't beat the Chiefs in the playoffs as well. So I think this is more important for the Ravens. The Ravens have to win this game, establish their identity that they're the team to beat and they're the best team in the AFC. So I think the Ravens will win this game 27-24, and it'll be a great start to what should be a great season for the Ravens. And let's close it out in the NBA. And a possible big story going on with the Clippers, who are being investigated for fraudulently paying under the salary cap with Kawhi Leonard. And yeah, this is a huge story. And yeah, the story is that supposedly the Clippers, they agreed to a deal with an investor that found to be a fraud investor. It's some fraud tree company or something like that. It was something weird like that. And yeah, they got $28 million from them and paid it to Kawhi Leonard. And they were using that to pay Kawhi Leonard to stay out of the salary cap and get more players and stuff like that. And this is a big one because yeah, if that's not good. You cannot be doing that. It's against the league policies, and it's being investigated right now. Steve Ballmer, he came out recently and talked about it and said it was all BS, which I don't believe, but we'll see. You're innocent until you're proven guilty. But if he's guilty, this is big because yeah, if Kawhi did this, then that's a really, really big issue. So I think if they are found guilty, Adam Silver cannot be soft on this. He has to drop the hammer. This cannot happen again. Although there is people saying out there, a lot of teams might be doing this, but they didn't get caught. So if you're caught, you gotta pay the consequences here, and they should be if they are proven guilty. And yeah, if you're Adam Silver, you cannot play soft. I think you got to suspend Kawhi Leonard for the year. You should also suspend Steve Ballmer from team activities and attending games, and you got to take away draft picks for sure. Take away some first round picks, give him a big fine, and drop the hammer. Because if you don't drop the hammer on them, a lot of teams gonna be like, oh yeah, well you just take a couple of first round picks, give me a fine, whatever. It has to be a big penalty and show teams that you cannot be doing this. And I think it is a real thing because, as we know with Kawhi Leonard, he does have a history of being shady. Because remember when he was a free agent after he won that championship with the Raptors, it was sounding like he was gonna go to the Lakers. He had a deal with the Lakers ready to go, but then all of a sudden the Clippers came in and were like, hey, we want to offer you a deal and we want you to come play for us. But Kawhi, he was like, well, I'll do it, but you got to do what I want and give me what I want. And it was being reported that he wanted a majority stake in the team. He wanted private flights. He wanted all this other stuff, and then also the big one where he said, I'm not coming unless you trade for Paul George, and it cost the Clippers in the long haul because in that trade they traded away SGA, who happens to be the reigning league MVP and the reigning NBA champion, Finals MVP, which is a huge one. They also gave up a lot of draft picks, and the Clippers don't have any draft picks to begin with, first round picks. They gave up a lot of first round picks to Oklahoma City, and this might have handcuffed the Clippers for the future. So yeah, they gave up a lot for Kawhi as it is. And Kawhi, he's not a talker. He's very quiet. So he has a demeanor of being shady. And his agent is his Uncle Dennis. And there's a lot of reports that he's pretty shady as well. And he's a very big like my way or the highway guy. And I also saw a report recently where Jeannie Buss, the former Lakers owner now, was told the same things from Kawhi Leonard and Uncle Dennis, and she was like, "No, I'm not giving all that stuff to you. Like either you play for our team, and we'll offer you the money. We'll give you a max deal, but we're not giving you all this other incentive stuff. Like we can't be giving you special treatment like that. That's way too much." And the Clippers, the Clippers are desperate. They needed a superstar, and they did it. But if this is true, which it sounds like it might be, this is a big one, and there's already issues with Kawhi as it is on the court because the guy barely ever plays. He's always hurt. Although last year I'll give him this, he did play the whole playoffs and he didn't leave the playoffs injured. So there's that, and he played very well. But there's shadiness there, and if this is true, then the Clippers are going to be in a big pickle here. And yeah, Adam Silver, don't be soft. Drop the hammer on them, make them pay, and do them justice. And that'll do it for this episode of the West Coast Mindset, episode 17. It's week 1. Sports are back, baby. We got NFL, MLB. It's getting close to the playoffs. I'll be covering the MLB playoffs on this podcast next month in October. It's gonna be fun. I'm excited for that. And yeah, man, it's gonna be a fun couple months. We're heading towards fall, the best sports time of the year, in my opinion, because we got playoff baseball, we got football, basketball is gonna start picking up again, hockey as well, and yeah, it's gonna be a great couple months of sports, guys. So with that, it's time for me to sign out, and I will see you guys next week.
This the West, 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 West. This the West, 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 the West Coast. This the West, 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 the West, West. This the West, 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 the West.